again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I am Dave Grendzynski, and you can call me Grizzer. This is where we get you caught up on some of the latest news and tidbits that are tied to our favorite team in the NFL. Yeah, they're still our favorite team. What can I say? That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everybody who's liked our previous episodes, everybody who gets their comments down there in the viewer comment section, and to all of you who have subscribed to the channel. I can't thank you enough. Now, coming up on today's show, it is what we like to call Take a Minute Tuesday, which follows Meltdown Monday. And then on Take a Minute Tuesday, we take a minute to see if the meltdown was warranted. And so today, I'm going to take a minute to see if I feel any better about our special team situation. We're also going to talk about why Kevin Stefanski is still royally screwing up our quarterback situation, even though he said Shedeur will start this week. If we can't beat the Titans, we got massive problems. And in the viewer comments, we're going to take a second look at Shedeur overthrowing Jerry Jeudy. Ooh, what could that be about? But first, Take a Minute Tuesday, Special Teams Edition. I took a minute and I looked at the overall picture, the scheme of our special team situation and Bubba Ventrone, and thought, I don't know, maybe I was too hard on him. And then I thought, heck no, no way. This is atrocious. And I consulted my man, Lance Riesland, who I call these state playoff games with, and he does all the film breakdown for Cleveland.com. And he was kind enough to give me an assessment of the 66-yard punt return. And this has been an ongoing problem with the team. Even though Kevin Stefanski was asked about special teams yesterday, and the first question was, why would you leave Larvidan out there? He fumbled twice, and then the third time was the charm. He finally fumbled that one away. Like, did you even think about replacing him? His answer was, we trust our guys. That's becoming the new, we got to play better. We trust our guys. And it's just not a good answer. But on the 66-yard punt return, and Lance has a video, you go find it he's all over the place, Twitter, everywhere. But Lance has a video that points all this stuff out. But listen to what this is what he sent to me. He said, the big punt return by the 49ers, it comes down to horizontal spacing and lane integrity. Defenders have to fight to stay in their lanes and compress the ball as a unit. Cleveland consistently gets clumped together, which leaves wide lanes and seams for explosive returns. See the Jets game. Credit to Whiteheart for that great effort to chase him down, but the structure of the coverage has to be better. And Stefanski, when they asked him about the punt return, he was just like, yeah, we just got to get a guy on the ground. He thought it was good coverage, and all we had to do was get the guy on the ground. But now, when you talk to a real coach, you find out what's really going on. We're too wide. We're not fighting through the blocks. Guys are running through us. Easy as that. Coaching. Coaching matters. And this special team situation is a complete joke because coaching matters. Bubba Ventrone and what is happening out there and then Stefanski, the Stefancers, and you don't get, that's the problem. You don't ever get the real story. But now we got a real coach on the hook who will give us the real story. So that's good. We got that going for us with Lance. But when I read that, I'm like, this is... It's all coaching. It's coaching. Corley is coaching. Why aren't you telling him, the guy who's never returned kicks in his entire life until he got to Cleveland, why aren't you reminding him? He's like, oh, no, he knew the rules. If he knew the rules, he wouldn't have stepped out of bounds. Stefanski. Before he steps out on that field, you tell him you cannot go out of bounds. Only the ball. You got to break down the situation. That's called coaching. It's called coaching them up. We're still mishandling Shedeur, by the way. Even though Kevin Stefanski has already said that Shedeur will quarterback. He's QB1 for the Titans game on Sunday. Here's the thing. When he won't commit to him beyond Sunday is a massive, massive problem. Because I used to do a podcast about sports psychology, and I talked to all kinds of different people, book authors and psychologists and players and coaches, and all, about culture and just positive psychology and things. You know how hard it is to play week to week thinking you're going to get pulled? Any mistake could be your last throw or your last series or whatever. Do you know how much harder you make it on a player when you do that to him? Stefanski would do us all a service, especially Shedeur, if he would just say Shedeur is the guy he's our QB1 the rest of the season. And he absolutely owes it to Shedeur, since Dylan Gabriel got everything from April until October. What harm is it going to, what are you doing by not saying he's the guy? Because everybody already knows he's 100 million times better than Gabriel. So why not just say he's the guy? And then now Shedeur, the whole psyche changes, because now he's not looking over his shoulder when he overthrows Judy, no matter whose fault it is. But this week-to-week thing is not good for anybody. It's not good for the culture. It's not good for Shedeur's psyche. It's not good for anybody. The entire team. You think the wide receivers want Gabriel back in there? The running backs do, because that's as far as he can throw it. He can throw it behind the line of scrimmage. That's it. Just say it, man. And please, can you instill some positive psychology for once and just say, always say we trust our guys. Okay, we'll say it. Shedeur is QB1 the rest of the season. We are trusting him with this offense. That's all you got to do. The Browns, listen, this is the Shedeur effect. Listen to this. The Browns registered their best pass block win rate against the 49ers on Sunday. 94.7%, almost 95%. Pass block win rate. Best one of the season. Shedeur effect. And also their run block win rate, 72.9%, almost 73%. Their fourth highest mark of the season. Shedeur effect. When you have a quarterback back there that you have to that has escapability and you have to respect as a thrower, the offense gets better. And the thing that makes me insane this week about the offense is we ran the ball so well in the first. We ran the ball 9 straight times before Shedeur threw that touchdown on that drive. 9 straight times. It was a mixture of Judkins, Sampson, and then we had a couple of jet sweeps in there. One with Bond and one with Corley. 9 times we ran the ball, which was fine because we're moving the ball down the field. That works so well, though. In the second half, you got to mix it up and go with play action. You use the run to set up the pass, or you use the pass to set up the run. And I thought we used the pass, those screen passes, to set up the run. And then now you got the running game going against a really good run defense. We told you all about it. Now you got the running game going. So what do? Come out second half, go back to the pass. You have to keep dip, dodge, duck, dive, and dodge. Remember dodgeball? Dodge, dip, dive, duck, and dodge. The 5 rules of dodgeball. Just go with it. Dodge is in there twice. It's the 5 rules of dodgeball. You got to dodge, dip, dive, duck, and dodge. Every time. It's improvise and adjust. I&A. All the time. In all sports. Whatever you did 5 minutes ago, you got to do something else to keep the defense on their toes. We don't do that. We don't do that at all. It's so frustrating watching this team and the mishandling of Shedeur. By the way, the Titans are a complete mess. I mean, if we can't win this game, then we are absolutely trying to lose. Everybody thinks, and it's really hard not to think that way now, what happens in these games. It really looks as though we now are trying to lose. When Shedeur is completely in command of that offense the first half, and then we don't even decide to try to get him involved. And then we're going to be going for it, 4th and 1 on our own 31 with a tight end under center. I mean, how else there's no other way to think. That's what everybody's saying. Everybody's coming around to that. It's insane. So Cam Ward's longest completion of the day on Sunday was 16 yards. He's got the Dylan Gabriel effect. Defenders in his face all day. Their offensive line is trash. They converted 2 of 12 third down opportunities, 16%. That's what that amounts to, although we weren't much better. The team 1 for 4 on fourth down. We were worse than them on fourth down. We were 0 for 4 on fourth down on Sunday. They were 1 for 4. They got 1. They're also very sloppy. 10 penalties for 86 yards. They give up 223 passing yards per game the last 3. For the season, it's 218. And we'll get more into those numbers later in the week. They're actually pretty good against the run lately. Not necessarily overall, but lately. They've shored up their run defense a little bit. But I mean, we're at home. This is a completely winnable game. So I think that if there will have to be an investigation if they lose this game. That's I mean, because they have no business losing this game. Because the Titans are a mess. What's never a mess are the viewer comments. And we start with Papa Reed, who says, Judy could have caught that ball. I watched the replay over 5 times to make sure. Now, here's what I'll say. Shador did have him earlier in the route, and I think that's where he was supposed to deliver the ball, but he was looking down the field at Fannin. His eyes were not on Judy. And when Judy made that initial break, he did have him, but his eyes were on Fannin, who was running a deep flat, and then Fannin got covered, and then he came back to Judy, and then Judy kept running up the field, and then he overthrew him. And I thought he was trying to compensate for the wind because they were going into the wind. And, that was one of his first throws of the game, too. So just trying to still get a feel for the wind. Or who knows, maybe, you're all hyped up or whatever. You can just put a little too much on it. But that's what I thought. But in Judy's defense, he what? But if he's not looking at him and he's looking for a bigger play, what are you going to do? Go to the sideline and get in his face and start jawing at him? Oh, yeah, that's what he did. That's just the wrong way to handle it. Of course, Stefanski has when he's asked about it, he has no answers about it. Oh, it just gets emotional sometimes. You know how that goes. You're not worried you got a cancer now? You're not worried about that? Unbelievable. But I will say, and I talked to Lance about it too. He said the same thing. He said he could have had him, and he said his footwork on that play too, because his feet took him a little bit too far to the right. If he'd have stayed straight back, he might have seen Judy even coming earlier across the formation. But that's neither here nor there. He was trying to make a play. He saw he was going after Fannin, and it wasn't there. So then he came back to Judy. Live with it, Jerry. Jeez, oh man. At Loving Power 10 says, let the quarterback play. Hello? Yeah, exactly. Especially in the second half after we got the running game going. I mean, we were primed for play action or RPOs, roll about a little bit. Something. Nah. We got Fannin to play quarterback. Walter Bradley, 87-34. They look like the Bad News Bears. Yeah, and that, again, goes back to coaching. That's what I'm saying. The only facet of the game that looks like an NFL team is the defense. That's it. And here's the thing though, with the offense, with Shador in there at quarterback, the quarterback is not the problem. When Gabriel was in there, the quarterback was the problem because he's undersized, he's left-handed, he can't see over anybody, he can only throw 2 yards out in front of him, can't run, can't do anything. I mean, he's a sitting duck back there. Everybody's selling out on the run because they know he can't throw. That's a problem. With Shador, completely different story. We saw another pass over 30 yards again. So, Shador is not the problem. Now the offense, we're still questionable play calls. The decision-making is atrocious. It's all of that other stuff that comes along with it. The special teams, a complete mess, up and down, everywhere. Yes, the Bad News Bears, 100%. Happy Valley Farms says, did I just give them a free advertisement? Could that be in Pennsylvania? Is that by Penn State? Happy Valley Farms. Incoming head coach Deion Sanders, 2026, ? I can't remember if Deion came up in this or was it? Might have been the live I did. I did a live with somebody. But anyway, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Dion retired from Colorado. Now that Shador's gone, and and his health issues and everything. And I mean, who could? I don't think anybody's gonna hate on that. But does he want to? I just don't know if he'd want to take over an NFL team. We would like him to. Anybody but Stefanski. That's where I'm at this point. But where I'm sitting, I don't know. I don't know if Dion would want to do it. Plus, the whole, maybe he doesn't want to, put that kind of pressure on Shador again. I don't know. But it's a big question mark. Big question mark. Angelo Loria, 7781. Letting Vrabel walk is mind-boggling, yes, and not going after Sean Payton when we could have gotten him. We should have given him $230 million instead of Deshaun Watson a couple years ago. Could have not sign one, not get Watson, not make that trade, and not give him that big contract. Hang on to that money and then give it to Sean Payton. We'd have a real coach. Or hang on to that money and then give it to Mike Vrabel, who was walking around our building for a year. And knowing our brain trust, they probably didn't even know he was a coach. Amber Love, LOL. I like that. Amber Love, and then it's laugh out loud. So she must like to laugh. Jimmy needs to sell the team if he's uninterested. Yeah, I'll tell you what Jimmy's thing is right now. I do think he needs to come out of hiding and try and explain, how do you employ people who don't do their jobs? And not even that. How do you employ people that don't do anything? You get the worst offense in the league, and the guy who's in charge of it's still here. By the way, it's been the worst offense in the league for like the last 4 or 5 years, and he's in charge of it. You got a special teams coach. We have the worst special teams in the league, but he still somehow gets to come to work every day and get a paycheck. But Haslam is only worried about that new stadium. Like, he put all of his efforts that new stadium, man. Like, that's why he's not going anywhere. He's not selling his team, man. He's taking his team into that new stadium. Because he had laws changed and all this other nonsense and all the hoops he's jumping through, and now they're moving the team to Brook Park. Yeah, that's you got Jerry's World in Dallas. This is going to be Jimmy's World in Brook Park, 100%. So he's not going anywhere, and he's very focused on that stadium right now. So he may not even know how bad the team is playing. But I agree. If he's not interested in it, he absolutely should sell it, but it never happened. And we will end today with Fida Madati. Crazy. Could be all one word, though. Fidata Madati? Fidata, like Huma Cantata? What's is it Lion King? Huma Matata? Is that what they say? Fidata Matati? Fidata Matati. Fidata Matati. 3367 says, we feel your pain, Grizzer. Yes, I appreciate that. I appreciate all the concern about me having a stroke or a heart attack. I appreciate all that. I want to let you know I do run every day. Well, I call it jogging now. I don't run anymore. So I do get my cardio in to try and keep my heart healthy. Heart health is important. This team. We can end on a high note if we just let Shador cook, man. We can get this offense going. Samson, day to day with a calf. He left with a calf. By the way, Malik Collins is not going to play this. He's done. He needs surgery. Conklin, of course, is hurt. But, it would be news if he wasn't hurt. I only tell you when he's not hurt because that's when it's news. So he's in concussion protocol. I've never seen an offensive lineman get so many concussions. How does that happen as a lineman? That's supposed to be the safest. I did a story on this years ago when I was working. I worked on a health show for Cleveland Clinic. It was a sports health show. We did a lot of work with the Browns, and back then they were the Indians. And I was a reporter and producer on this show. And one of the stories I did was on concussions, and I found that the safest spot for any athlete as far as concussions. They did this study, and I don't know if the research has been updated since then, so it might be a different sport, different position. But at the time, the safest spot to keep your kids away from a concussion was offensive line in football. Outside of like punter or kicker, come on. But I'm saying offensive line in football because it's just an initial hit. They're not taking those hard slam hits like a linebacker, running back, or wide receivers take going over the middle. Like it's just shoot, and then, they're riding their guy. Like, that's it. And their head's never involved. But somehow Conklin keeps getting concussions. He's another guy, man. Stole our money. Another guy. Unbelievable. Add him to the list with Holmgren, Watson, and the rest of them. So, of the people who steal the Browns' money. And the Browns don't seem to care. All right, that's going to do it for today. Remember, we'll start getting it back tomorrow, and we'll find some ways to beat the Titans. Cam Ward against Shedeur Sanders. This is going to be big. Big one. It's going to be a big one. Even though there's no playoff implications or the rest of it, it's still going to be fun. It'll still be fun to watch. All right, that'll do it. Go Browns. We'll see you next time.